Everyone who has millions started from zero, from this to that, from nothing to everything. As a divine healer, let me show you the blueprint to heal your deepest wounds, step into your destiny, and become the happiest person you know. My name is Steph Mahony, and welcome to your $1 Million Life podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to your $1 Million Life podcast, a podcast that inspires you with stories, determination, and success. Today, I have the honor of hosting an esteemed guest all the way from Iceland, Sigrídur Hrund. Sigrid is a remarkable professional, a businesswoman, and entrepreneur who is living her $1 Million life. With an MBA, a Master's of Science, and a Bachelor of Arts, she has a thriving career, a passion for innovation, and has made significant strides in the business world while balancing her role as a wife and a mother of 4. Her impressive resume includes being a successful business owner, an investor, an active board member of the Association of Women in Higher Education. But not only that, this past spring, Sigridur has also run in the 2024 elections as a presidential candidate in Iceland. Although she did not win the presidency, her candidacy was a remarkable achievement and a testimony to her dedication, leadership, and vision. As one of the 12 finalists, she stood among an exceptional group of diverse candidates, showcasing her ability to compete at the highest level. Her campaign brought important issues to the forefront, inspired countless of individuals, and demonstrated the power of perseverance and passion. Join us today as we explore her incredible journey, the challenges that she's overcome, and the invaluable insights that she has gained along the way. Welcome to the show. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. It is such a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. It's such an honor, all the way from Iceland, and here we are in Toronto. This is the beautiful thing about technology, that we can connect all over the world. So I gave our community a beautiful description of who you are and just a little bit about your journey, but you're such an inspiration to me, and I know so many people, because not only are you in a beautiful marriage of 28 years, you have 4 children, but you have managed to create a beautiful life, which I call a $1 Million life. A life of hard work and success and like living your dreams. Can you just share with us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. I turned 50 in January and I had a big party. And I'll tell you why I had a big party. It's because when I was 20, I was abroad. I was studying abroad. So 20 something, I'm basically studying and doing a lot of jobs like we all do, I think. When I was 30, I was pregnant with twins.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
didn't, I know. So I didn't have a party when I was pregnant. Absolutely not. And the decade between 30 and 40 meant a lot of children because I had my kids between 30 and 40. So I had the twins, and then I have a boy 14. And when I was 40, I was pregnant with my last child, my girl. So I never had a big party. So between 30 and 40, I had career jobs, I would say. I was climbing and, attending to the kids and everything. And 40 meant that I had 4 kids. And at that point, I was independent. So when I had my 3rd child, which is now he's 14, I transitioned from being an employee to an employer. Yeah, and that was a big
That's
decision,
a big jump. Yeah.
yeah, should I, continue climbing for the career
Mhm.
jobs? But the thing is with me, I don't take by power or fame or anything like that.
Mhm.
I'm always into service. So I'm always servicing the community and people and my family and everybody that come close to me. So yeah, that's the lifespan in decades, if you want. And now
Mhm.
I'm at 50, and I
Yeah.
want to tell you a little bit about the last 3 to 5 years, because 5 years ago, I really stepped in. My last kid, my girl, she was 5, and I felt like I really owed it to myself to do something for myself. And we
Mhm.
have this great association in Iceland that is the Association of Women Business Leaders. And today we have 1,500 women dispersed around the country, and they come from all kinds of professions. And one of the biggest growing groups in this association is the New Icelanders. It's the immigrants, because we have a high influx of people coming to Iceland, and they have
Mhm.
found our association, and we are enriched by these women, I would say.
That's
And I
beautiful.
stepped into this association. I've always been a kind of a free rider with them, learned from them, paid my annuals, tried to attend to the meetings, etc., etc. But at that point, 5 years ago, I decided to raise my hand and volunteer for a board seat. And I got into the board. And that was
Amazing.
amazing. Yeah, I was told it was just an investment in me and my time. And I want to do
Mhm.
something and take part of this female community.
Yeah.
And this is just before COVID. So I'm there for 1.5 years. I should have been two years, but COVID
Mhm.
hit us hard, everybody.
Yeah.
And I skipped half a year because I just went and I attended to my business and my family, my children.
Mhm.
But 3 years ago, so consequently, uh, the girls, the women in this association, they started pinching me and saying, there's an opening for the chair. And why don't you go and run for the chair of this association? And I was just like, leave me alone. Too much. But the thing is, I ran. I said, why not? If I, a mom of four, with an
Mhm.
independent business that is really hard. I work in construction. I sell scaffolds, security materials.
Yeah.
It's totally
Yeah.
non-feminine environment. And I said,
Mhm.
if I can run and if I can chair, uh, it's an amazing role model, and it is really something that it's a story to tell. And I
Mhm.
won, and I got to be chair for 2 years, and that is amazing. I'm so grateful that that
Oh,
happened.
see,
Didn't
you
plan
followed
that,
your inner
Steph.
nudge. That's the thing. You followed the nudge. So many of us get this, but we're scared and we
Mm,
don't do anything because we paralyze in fear. But what I love about your story is that you did it afraid. You felt that inner nudge to move forward and you said yes to it. And the fulfillment now of 2 years of that experience is now going to fuel your next step forward as well, right?
absolutely. And it kind of it's a steep learning. And the thing is, it's been a steep learning these last years, I would say,
Mhm.
because I work in male-dominated environments, and with the guys, it's usually very non-drama. So it's just cut to
Mhm.
the chase, stick to the core points and let's do it. And it moves very quickly. And if we have a struggle of any kind, it's never personal. I can tackle it And then 5 minutes later, we're talking about something else. This is not the dynamics with females in my experience. We tend to take it too personal, or it sticks, or I remember when you said that, those kinds of things. And I think that is really something that I learned a lot about, being in an environment with the association where you only have women and so diverse, a lot of stories. And I believe in the education and learning through stories. That's why it's so important to tell stories and listen to stories as much as you can, because then you are going to you're going to mirror yourself and say, I'm going to try that. I think that is a very good point. You can pick something up and try to use it for your benefit. So that led me to the last year, or the last half year, as I was running for the president. We had a great
So
election
let's talk
this
about that.
year.
That first of all,
Yeah.
congratulations. What an accomplishment for somebody to take that leap forward, because so many of us wouldn't even imagine the possibility. But here you are and you did it. And even for you to move forward and writing up that application form that I'm going to do this is so empowering, first of all, to women and the next generation that comes after us, because it just shows the pathway of what's possible. So I'm like ready to dive into this. Can you just share with your heart and your mindset at that time? What was your thought process of wanting to do something bigger in your life and take a step as a presidential candidate? Can you talk to us about that?
I didn't come for myself. This is absolutely not an egoistic journey or step. I really like to serve, and I think it's really important that we take part in democracy. And I'm so lucky, Steph, that I live in a country that this is the only job that we all own together. So you don't have to be a politician to run, and I don't want a political president.
Yeah.
That is absolutely not my choice. And I think it's very valuable that the learning and the role modeling of raising your hand and saying, I want to volunteer my voice. And what happened is that we got the finalist, which I was not a finalist, which is okay. We had 12 finalists. We had 6 women, 6 men. They had very different age gap. They had different profession and experience, and the voices were very contradictory. And it's such a healthy experience for everybody to learn, to listen, and not to talk bad about persons, but really try to figure out why are you running and what are you saying, and is it something that I have to listen to? Even if I'm not going to vote for you, I need to hear this. And what I did is that I came early and I announced, and people knew for a long time, I think, that I would come, which is good. And then I went around the country to gather recommendations. You need recommendations to be a finalist. And the thing is, when I traveled around the country, Steph, I have never, and I don't think I will ever again, talk to as many people. And when you get that exposure to people, all kinds of people in all kinds of situations, and you really have to come with humility and grace and gratitude. It's not coming forcing yourself onto somebody or, make them love you or anything. It's not that kind of energy, but it's the service energy. And when you come with joy and hope and you say, how do you see our country? How do you see our society? And with a lot of love. I can't perform without love. And I'm going to tell you the result. This is very, very interesting. 75% of the votes went to the top 3 women. So there was a big cry out for, having a woman again. It's been 28 years since we had the only female president, and it was the first female president in the world.
Wow.
So there was kind of this momentum. We have to change, this is equality. We're top in equality in the world for 15 years. And 1/4 of the voters decided on the voting day what they were going to vote. So there was a lot of, indecisive, because the country is very split in how we feel. And at that point in time, it is so important. Think about this as your family, and it's very diverse, contradictory, and you don't want to have that fight. Okay, you want to have that sharing experience. You have to have the dialogue. And if you want the dialogue, you have to have the space for the dialogue. And I'm so happy and grateful that we had that platform. If I had come with an ego, I would be hurt about not being a finalist, etc., etc. But that is not who I am. So I'm more like, cheering, yes, we got what we really needed.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, it's very, sorry?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it doesn't mean it's not about winning or losing. It's about following your heart and taking a step, because we always acquire wisdom along the way. And that helps us to learn lessons and grow and expand. And you're going to use this life experience in somewhere else in your life too, and inspire so many people along the way, of what's possible. And I really love Iceland as well, that they really value women. I love that so, so much. It's equality and encouraging women to step up to the plate and do something so incredible. Because I think, perhaps even the Western countries here, I don't know how many women would think of running for presidency or as a prime minister here. And I wish that that's something that we can really step up and see, because women have such a brightened perspective, I think, a heightened perspective of the world, and add so many different values that are different, not better, but different. And I think when we can all come to this place and see different perspectives, we realize that, hey, maybe what we were doing back here isn't the greatest. And maybe this is a fresh change that we needed. But it takes that person to step outside their comfort zone and offer that pathway, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's very important to also mention that there was a lot of dynamic of joy around these elections with all candidates. And I think that is something the world should learn from.
Yes.
And look at Iceland and say, we had a lot of exposure on social media. So what we had before was you had TV and you had the papers, but now you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, being on TikTok is hard. It's super hard.
Wow, TikTok too. It's amazing.
I know.
It's progressive. That's
I know, but the thing is, it's also an opportunity, and we're going to have parliamentary elections in a year, and we have 50-50, man, female. We're very lucky. I hope we will remain as such, but it also puts a lot of I would say not pressure, but the obligation to protect this equality mindset, that you have to support women. You have to support anybody that is willing to step in, willing to train yourself. My learning curve has been like this, so steep, and if you don't self love and self-soothe, and if you don't show yourself compassion, it's hard. It's going to be hard. And I can see a lot of women that they pull back. They don't want to be there. If it's really about fighting or pushing instead of allowing yourself to be as you are and who you are, they don't want to step in. So let's be very responsible and mindful about our role. Even if you're not stepping forward, please support the women that are. Even
Yes.
if this is solidarity as well, Steph, and this is crucial. I don't agree with you, but I'm there for you. I do not agree with you in, if you have any kind of, I don't know, just mindset or your issues.
Mhm.
But I am supporting you stepping forward, and I believe you
Mhm.
should do that as you are. Don't change yourself. That is the authenticity we're going to talk about as
Yes,
well. How
100%.
important
And
that is.
I think that's so important. And, it's really important to always stay authentic, which is something I'm really excited to talk to you about, because as long as we stay our own lane and we're speaking our highest truth, that's when we can live our truth and be authentic. And, for somebody who's always, I grew up with so much doubt in myself, unworthiness. And when I stepped into this new place of elevating and really stepping into the fullness of my destiny, I had this imposter syndrome. I'm like, no, 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 I can't possibly do that. And the thing that I kept hearing is that if not you, who? And if not now, when? And I really took that to heart because it was so true. Like, if I'm not going to do this, but this is something that's blazing in my heart as my inner truth, if I'm not going to do it, I can't rely on anybody else to do it because maybe they're not meant to. So maybe this is my opportunity to take a step forward. And we each hold that passion within us. So maybe we can even just talk about that. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think
What's
that
important about that?
I want to talk about the light then,
Yes.
because this has been talked about publicly for a while now, and even Michelle Obama has talked about this.
Mhm.
We all have a purpose in our life,
Mhm.
and we all have our unique lights. And it is so important that we shine our light uh, unapolog- without apology. Just
Yeah.
be who you are. If you don't know who you are, you have to figure out. And that is your private, personal journey. And it is fruitful, it's hard, and hardship, challenges, and difficulties are going to shape you, and they're going to give you growth. You cannot know who you are without being quiet. I'm telling you, with all the noise and the buzz, you're not going to figure out. It's not about that. It's about going inwards and
Mhm.
figuring it out by yourself, not by trying to mirror yourself with other people. That
Yes.
is different. That is different from what I was saying before, when you're learning from experience of the
Mhm.
stories. So you have to figure out your light and be your light. And then you have to have compassion for other people
Mhm.
and allow them to be in their authenticity. And now I just want to rewind and talk about the presidential
Mhm.
elections here. We had 6 women and 6 guys, very different. The top guy, who got the most votes, he was mayor in Reykjavik, and he is also an actor. And he was the man who was most able to talk about his feelings, how he felt. And he came and he just sat. We are used to how he talks, okay? I want to state that. So he would say, I'm so tired. I am just so tired. And I don't feel right about this. He was talking like women would do. And I think that is wonderful. It's so healthy. Well, the 2 next guys, they would say, which is also good, they would say, like, I'm not used to talking so much about myself. But you have to do that because it's such an exposure. It's just naked in the street exposure. This is one of the key issues of authenticity. When you say I'm just used to be the role that I'm attending to, if it's a lawyer or a teacher or a mayor or whatever, but who you are is something that we rarely show. And we really need to do that. And the world needs that. We need that for creativity. We need that for peace as well. Not the push energy of very, very masculine energy, but the pull energy. Like, I think honey, the attraction energy, where you say to the core and very quietly, what is essential here and what are we trying to achieve? And let's do this together. We can give the space to talk together. And it will flow, it will come. And this requires a lot of trust because we're raised to pushing things in order. And that is not, I don't believe that is the way. I believe in the fluidity.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even just to your point, I'm all about helping people to step into their destinies, the fullness of their destinies. And I call this your North Star. There's an infinite amount of timelines that exist because our free will to choose, to do or not do, to say yes or maybe later or no, altogether. But within us, there's that inner fire. And if we can take a step forward to follow that flame, our compass will always bring us there because our compass only points north. It points north to our North Star. But through free will, sometimes our compass points the wrong direction, which is west. And that's where people get stuck and confused and in doubt, and it keeps spinning in circles because they don't know what to do, or sometimes they're living somebody else's dream for them and they're not being authentic to who they truly are. So the moment you can take off that mask and step into authenticity, that inner light that you talked about flames up and it shoots right up. And going north is not easy. It requires us to step outside of our comfort zone, but everything on the other side of that fear and everything outside of what makes us comfortable is where our dreams and wishes are fulfilled. And it usually means that it's tied into a bigger purpose, such as helping society, helping the world on a bigger plane than just you. So each of these candidates holds such an importance, regardless of if they won or not. They're bringing their voice, they're bringing their highest truth to the table so that the majority of consciousness can determine where they feel most aligned to, which I think is amazing. And it's cool to see that evolution of what becomes more important to us as our world does evolve, right?
So sometimes when I'm talking about the journey, because I've had a journey like
Yes.
a heartbeat. I had severe postnatal depression when I had my children every time. So I've been through hell in life. And that has really opened up for the light in my life. And I cherish my life due to that. I've scraped the bottom. And I want to kind of frame this to children. So how would you react to children when they are trying out something new and you're just saying, don't be afraid, I'm here, I'll grab you, try it out, just do it. Don't think so much about it. And, you can do at least some of it, maybe not all of it, but don't wait for it. What are you waiting for? And that is a question I often ask people. What are you waiting for and why? Because is it more important to just do it? Go for the presidency, be a candidate. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to run again, and if I'm going to run again, I'm waiting 8 years, then I'm 58. It's a totally new reality. So don't don't wait for it, just do it and don't think so much about it. The consequences, there is also, do you want to have the regret or do you want to be former something? Being a former chair or a former candidate is my preference. I prefer taking the experience, learning steep, and, having compassion for people and myself. That is just my choice, because you were talking about the choices before. You do have the choice, and I just advocate for, don't choose inertia. Don't choose, unless you are really working on yourself inside. Sometimes you just have to wait and listen. That's okay. But be very sure about why you're waiting. Because sometimes, and this is true, you have to wait and listen when you're not sure, or you just have to act, and then you have to face the consequences and have faith with it. It's just experience anyway. It's not the end of the world, I think.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I always think that our choices, life and destiny is presented to you in the form of choices, one at a time. And the right choice will always give you inner peace. It may be scary. You'll have that fear of like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. What are people going to think? But it's something you're magnetized to, you're leaning into, right? So if we lean into that place that gives us that inner peace, even if it is fearful, on the other side of it, first of all, we realize fear is an illusion. And then we realize how capable we are. That's how we activate our highest potential. So on this note about talking about fear and challenges and obstacles, can you share with us, what was that like for you when you decided to go for this? Did you have any fear in yourself if this is something that you could do, or like, what did that even look like for you at that time?
I had no fear. I had no fear, and it's amazing to say. I just was full of love, and I was sure that this was something that I had to do, that I had to go through. It's like a pilgrimage, and pilgrimage is a long way, and you get tired, your feet and spirit get tired. But you do it, and you can stop and rest, but you just have to get up there again and do it, step by step. There was continuous learning. There was a lot of challenges. I think I wouldn't say fear, but the thing that I learned the most about and from was people and how kind they could be. Very, very, very few were not kind. And, within three, unkind, I would say. That had nothing to do with me. That had something to do with their path and where they were at that moment. And that is such a huge learning, positioning yourself to this scenario. So, not the fear, but it's basically the learning of humanity. And that's why I say I'm so humble and grateful, because I don't think I will get another chance. Well, call me again in 10 years. I don't know. I think it's just a huge exposure. Yeah, I know. And then you have the whole society learning together. Like we had this exposure of social media. And, in 2.5 weeks, we were just so tired about if somebody was talking negatively about somebody else. We said, I really want to hear what Steph is about. So could you please tone it down and, not tell me all the things that are wrong about her and her issues. I really want to hear. And this is just because I'm so indecisive. And people, I can tell you, my nation, that is diversity. And it's the hard thing about diversity. We have so different opinions. And then you have to have tolerance and compassion. And I can't come, for as a candidate and having fear. presenting that. I don't think it's the right mode. You should just come and say, what do you think? How should we do this? You know, if we have fear, let's have the fear together then.
Yeah. So on that note, talking about fear, because it's a real thing for so many people. So from this place that I mean, you went for it all and you didn't have fear, which is so amazing. But for those around you who do have fear, what would your advice to them be?
It is basically to tell you that because I have had fear and I have had diminishing light, I would say. Not a strong light within, and being unsure about myself, fearful about my existence, and how am I going to lead my life and for my children, etc., etc. It is to realize, first of all, that is natural. You know, fear is a very natural element in the world. It is to go through it, and I mean, not around it or above it, but through it, that we're going to grow. It is to keep on walking and rise above, stand up, and continue. And one of the things that is really crucial is the solidarity, that we help each other through. And that is the key issue for love. It is to really, regardless, I'm going to be there for you and help you. Be mindful. You know, kindness should be something that we normalize. It should be really something that we're thinking about, talking about, and acting every single day. Practice makes perfect. Then fear it's just a nibble on the road, a normal nibble. And we have to be mindful about that. We can't let it control our actions or thoughts. And that is what you see happening when you have discourse or fights or wars, that fear is controlling. Love is not controlling, right?
Absolutely. And on that note, I feel that judgment, which is a derivative of fear, judgment can be abolished the moment we understand each other. The moment we open our eyes and our ears and our hearts to hear the other side of a person's story is the moment our hearts open up and our perspectives change, and we have this overflowing sense of understanding and forgiveness. And all of a sudden, they're no longer the enemy. Like, I see you, all of these things with wars, regardless of what they're fighting for, nobody wants it. Everyone desires peace, and they want a peaceful home for their family, and they want hot food to make for dinner for their children. We all desire the same things, but fear, I think, amplifies this place of separation, and it's me against you, and it brings out this scarcity mindset of fight or flight, and it's the ego, right, versus the higher mind. But I think the moment we open our hearts through that power of love is when everything changes. So maybe we can talk about that, because you have such a beautiful perspective of the power of love, which is really the 5D world that we're ascending to, which is so exciting. We're ascending, we're rising above this fear mentality in the world into this place of love. Can you talk to us about that?
I want to tell you a story. We never had a wedding trip. So last year we got remarried, 20 years of marriage, and we had a party, and that was great. And we had a wedding trip, and we went to Jordan and Jerusalem. And, we came home, and the day after the war broke out. When we were there in Jordan and in Israel as well, just a few places in Israel as well. And I also went to Bethlehem. I just saw people. Normal people, kind people. Everybody was kind. everywhere I went. I even went to the Crying Wall in Jerusalem, in the midst of my religion. And Jordan it's multicultural in every way, in food and religion. There's, of course, a lot of Muslims. I had a hard time finding a church on a Sunday, but I did. But it was a mix, and this goes back thousands of years. But this area has had conflict for, as long as they have existed. But it was so fruitful being there and experiencing love of people. And they were kind and they were curious. Where are you from? Iceland. What are you doing here? Let me show you. And, I think that was a presentation of love. For me, it was such, and that's why I'm telling you this story. I could have been dealt with, you have different religion, you don't have the same color of skin as I do. Why don't you have a veil or anything to segregate or, make the difference of people. But that was not it. And that was not my experience. So when I came home and, just the day after the war broke out and we were devastated, we were just there. I was just there. What are they doing and why is this happening? And I think that is the truth of what you were saying. We're just normal people and we're just surviving. We're just, attending to our children, our families, our elderlies, etc. And there is a transition in the world, and it's going to happen over the next decades. And we all have to help. We all have to participate. And I'm not saying everybody needs to run for president, but you can participate within your community, within your family, within your work community, if you're volunteering, as I do, I volunteer a lot, step in and speak about equality, show equality, equity, make that space for the voices, and you be that voice, be responsible and say, I haven't heard what Steph has to say about this. Could you tell us? Open it up for other people, especially if they are in minority. So these are just the tactics, the normal tactics. Treat people as people.
Yes.
Don't treat them as anything else or less. And I really have spoken about demographics for years. And I really don't want, us to segregate us for age, origin, gender, skip the demographics. Just let's be people and tell me what you think about this and how do you see this? Yeah, I think that is the platform.
I have this, I saw this on social media and it stuck with me forever. And it said, kindness makes you the most beautiful person in the world, no matter what you look like. And I think that should always be our guiding light, because when we can live with the forefront of love in our mind, in our heart, in our actions, that's how we change the world. Mother Teresa once said, if you can't feed 100 people, feed just one. And this is how I live my life. I can't fix the world by myself. Maybe I can help one person. And, on rainy days with my kids, we'll walk and you see all these worms on the sidewalk. And I was like, guys, we can't save all of these worms, but maybe we can save just one. And that worm can go home to its family. And this is now how they live their life, is showing kindness, not to just people, but to our earth, our animals. Like, we're all souls of one big creator. I truly believe. And if we can ignite that power that we have within us to create change for one being, it ripples all throughout the world. And if we can all live with this mindset of just showing kindness to everyone and everything on a moment by moment basis, like imagine the power we have to shift this energy into something so beautiful where we truly are looking out for each other, you know? And this is my whole intention with creating this podcast, Your $1 Million Life is a life that's nothing to do with money and everything to do with feeling like $1 million. And that comes from leading a heart-centered life, fulfilling your purpose, stepping into your destiny where you are aligned to that inner feeling that you talked about. Because when we're all in alignment to that place, we stop living somebody else's life and we start living our own. We start igniting our own dreams because within that dream is something so magnificent that only we can fulfill in this universe. And without being able to fulfill it, we leave a cosmic void. That's how powerful we each are.
It is true. And you create ripple effects. I like Maya Angelou's sentence, I come as one, but I stand as thousands. Because we stand on the shoulders of our four parents, four fathers, four mothers. And if we do not unlearn and de-learn and relearn, we are handing that sprout to our children. So let's be responsible and let us be the actionary creators of our society. And I think that is something that is within our power. The choices is our power. And
100%.
the choice of being a kind human being, it's hard. Kindness and love is hard. It's so hard because, you know, when you go to the kindergarten, they're not going to share. You know, it's mine. This is something that humans, yes, this is what we have to learn. That is sharing and caring. And I think if we do this in solidarity, and if we talk about this, and that is the great thing about technology, as you said, we can share experiences and we can spread the experiences. We can hear, you know, other people and listen to each other, and let's just ripple it off. You be the light, and this is what I say continuously, be the light, and you have to turn on other people's lights. I can see the light in you and I'm turning it on, and I really want you to shine. There is plenty of space. Don't think about competition here. There is no competition of lights. I'm sorry to say.
Yes.
Not sorry to say.
Sister, this is it. This is all it. There's an abundance. The universe, God, is so overflowing. And there's room for all of us to do well and shine. So if I can help you shine, it helps us all shine, right? And, you know, we can't change anybody along this journey. It has to come from within. But even though we cannot change anybody, we can inspire everyone around us. So as long as we just stay on our own path and we keep living our best life with excellence, and being a good person with what we have and doing something good in this world, it doesn't matter where we started off, we're going to inspire everybody all around us in that part of the world to do the same. And that's how that light just keeps growing. And if we just lead with that heart-centered approach, this is where miracles come from, I truly believe, because that light, the power of one person can outshine the darkness of thousands, you know.
Think about the disco. Yeah.
The
You know, the disco
Yeah.
ball. You just have to shine it all through, and don't be a stop sign. Be an arrow, you know, help a person by pointing. I think you need to talk to that person, or I think, you know, try that out. Don't be a stop sign, and have an open heart. And what carries me through the day when I have not a hard time, but it's challenging to choose love, I always place myself Am I thinking in love? Am I speaking in love? Are my reaction in love? Because the ego will not choose that. The ego will always choose something else. So this is also about being altruistic, but not egoistic. And people have to realize that this is about all of us together.
Absolutely.
Rise above together.
Absolutely. This is such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for all of this.
Thank you.
And I really hope that this inspires one person to shift up level their life, their thinking, their belief in what's possible, and for them to really just go for it. Go for that dream that's nudging them, and ignite that light that's within them to do something different, to step outside that face of fear and to show the world what's possible, because we need each one of us to do that. And our light, just like that disco ball, that world is just going to light up so quickly.
It is. Be authentic and be yourself.
Yes.
Unapologetically. Just
Yes.
be yourself. Shine. Yep.
We are all
Thank
perfect.
you, Steph.
We're all
Thank you so
perfect
much.
for what we've been chosen to do. So as long as
yes.
we stay in our own path, we fix, there's no gaps in this world, because we fill it all up together, right? So thank you with all of my heart for joining me. Namaste. May the light of my heart shine, and I see the light within you.
Thank you. Be
All
the
my
light.
love to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you are ready to heal your deepest wounds and manifest your greatest life, I welcome you to explore the blueprint to your $1 million life, a divinely channeled program that is creating miracles for people all over the world. Visit www.stephmahony.com.